Hello, listeners. Welcome back to the 288 FM podcast with Group 14. We're Josh and Ambrose. A year ago, we met with our guest Imogene and used the nursing process to diagnose and perform a care plan for her. The following audio is from our first meeting with Imogene.
Is this on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I want to introduce our guest for today, Imogene. Hey, Imogene, can you tell us a little bit about your story?
Yeah, for sure, Ambrose. I just want to say, I'm in the streets a lot. I spend a lot of time in the Beltline, and I've been moving block to block recently because finding a place to stay has been really hard for me. I'm trying to get some money so I can find a stable place to stay, and I feel really lonely at times. I've got so many problems, and I'm the only one who has to deal with them. I love my boyfriend, but I don't know. I can't really ask him or go to him for anything. Also, so the thing is, I also work in the streets a lot. Men will pay me for my personal services, and my boyfriend helps me out with that. He helps me find interested people so we can both get some money. He gets a little physical at times when I don't get enough clients, but he only does it so we can get some money for the both of us. I swear he's not a bad person. He just gets angry sometimes. We use most of the money we make to get high. But anyways, I've had a lot of friends in the same business as me, and I just don't feel like they're safe. They also get exploited and abused a lot. I just want them to be safe,
Yeah, I see about that. Thank you for sharing your story with us, Imogene. I know it can be a little bit hard to just talk about all of the challenges that you're going through.
To understand the broader scope of her story, we sent Tiana to conduct a windshield survey within the Beltline community. We wanted to assess the community and the environment that Imogene is surrounded in to better help get her to where she wants to be. So here's Tiana.
So I've been driving and going around the Beltline community for a while now, and I just wanted to note a couple things. We do have shelters in place that she can go to, however, they are limited in capacity. If Imogene is looking for stable housing, then shelters aren't necessarily the best option. Much of the housing looks high-end, secured apartments and condos, as well as some small, single-family homes. I'm driving around the day, and already I can see that there is a visible discrepancy between the high and low income status. Many people were in suits, probably going to work, and some people were going for morning walks with their pets. However, there were also clusters of groups in parks or at the corner of Schumer. These people had their belongings in trolleys. Some people also had camps set up in isolated areas like alleyways. Grocery stores are also very sparse, and a lot of public spaces have language indicating that washrooms are for customers only. Access to public washrooms is hard to find. I can see that the hostile architecture and the security in parks and libraries are placed to shoo off people who are unhoused. In terms of health and social services, Sheldon Schumer is the only large medical center in the area. There are a few dental centers, but I'm unsure how accessible they are to Imogene, considering that she is of lower income status and doesn't have insurance. Social services include the Youth Employment and Women's Sexual Health Center. Lastly, access to health care services as well as other sexual health, employment, and housing services is difficult in coordination with finding a place to eat and sleep if you consider Imogene doesn't have a car. I checked out the C-train, but I have noted how peace officers and the general public aren't very welcoming on the train to individuals who are unhoused. I can see exactly how this would make it difficult for someone like Imogene to navigate housing and finding resources.
We'd like to thank Tiana for her insights on the Beltline area. So after we finished our windshield survey, we then consulted with a key informant from the Beltline area to educate us on the street-involved community in Calgary.
I'm here with Tithi, who is a social support worker in the Beltline community. Hi, Tithi. So my first question for you. What's the biggest challenge that your street-involved clients face?
Yeah, so I would definitely say that violence is a big issue for my street-involved clients, especially if they're involved in sex work. A lot of them work with clients that are violent or in accordance with pimps that also get violent. The nature of their work is such that they're treated poorly by clients. I find that my clients have a difficult time approaching the police with their concerns because they're worried that they might be perceived negatively or end up being detained. It's difficult to help my clients feel safe and secure when they have trouble seeking help. However, I do notice how big of an issue it is when I can see severe bruising, limping, and painful injuries. It's so disheartening. I wish there were better ways to help my clients, but it's hard to direct them to resources due to difficulty with accessibility and considering it's not always a priority because they have other concerns such as where they'll be sleeping tonight.
A lot of these issues may stem from housing accessibility. We're also curious about the barriers that street-involved individuals face in regards to getting off the streets. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so housing is very difficult because there's always a specific criteria to meet to be able to access a lot of the affordable housing. Clients who want to get into the housing program have to fill a needs and services questionnaire first and foremost. That is difficult in itself because priority on housing lists goes to individuals who are pregnant, have children's independence, or are coming back from incarcerations or detox establishments. This obviously makes sense for priority, but with limited resources, this makes it difficult for so many people like Imogene to get on the top of the list. Furthermore, housing requires meetings with an advisor, and the frequency of meetings also places you at a higher priority. This might be another barrier, considering how difficult that might be for someone who is street involved to attend those meetings regularly. All of these things make it incredibly difficult for someone who wants to get off the street. They really go through rough things out there.
Wow, that was very informative. Thank you for your insights. I invite Raf to sum up major concepts highlighted in the windshield survey and the key informant interviews.
To summarize, we conducted a SWOT analysis to grasp the factors at play surrounding Imogene's situation. One strength for Imogene is her willingness to get off the street. However, her personal coping skills surrounding substance use is a bit of a weakness. Existing social services can prove to be an opportunity for Imogene, but it should also be noted that a threat exists for Imogene with the existence of violence on the streets.
Thanks, Raf, for the SWOT analysis. After summarizing the health concerns experienced by Imogene, we consulted two community health nurses, Emma and Yevon, to make a diagnosis and help us create relevant interventions that can improve Imogene's current situation and assist the broader community. Here's Emma.
After assessing the information presented, I believe there exists an opportunity for Imogene to secure housing related to improved quality of life as evidenced by Imogene's willingness to get off the streets. In the Beltline area in Calgary, there are many vacant office buildings with no use, which has helped us in finding a possible solution for Imogene. So we've connected with a business who is in the process of flipping their office building into affordable housing units, as their operations switched online post-COVID and didn't need the office space anymore. This model is perfect for people who need housing. Because I have built a lot of connections with the individuals who are street involved, they can be directed to the business through references from me or through other outreach programs in the Beltline. This will reduce a lot of the barriers of accessibility required, as I could assess their needs myself and then direct them directly to housing. Also, due to how much commercial space is vacant in the sustainable model to create more housing as dependent on the need. To address the cost barrier for vulnerable populations with low income status, we developed a flexible rental model. This model includes meeting one-on-one with a housing advisor bi-monthly to discuss a flexible monthly rent based on their current employment status, which can change depending on the income. Connections with employers or in the area will also be provided to the client seeking employment. This addresses the fears of stigma from landlords based on bias regarding street-involved people. Our flexible payment program is non-biased as it addresses the needs of individuals according to affordability rather than the source of their income. This addresses a lot of the accessibility barriers that come with searching for affordable housing. If this intervention is successful, I believe this can create a supportive environment in the Beltline community for individuals like Imogene, who do not have housing. I was able to work with developers and get Imogene an apartment within this building. She should be able to move in the next month, and we hope to follow up with her in 6 months' time.
Thanks, Emma. I'm excited to see how that intervention works out. Here's Yevon with our community level intervention.
Another opportunity exists to improve accessible resources for people experiencing homelessness, as evidenced by the limited scope of existing social services. Hence, a possible solution would be to provide more accessible food and social services. Tithi mentioned earlier how accessibility to safe and secure resources is the biggest barrier for her clients because of stigma associated with sex work. We figured that the best way to provide accessibility would be through a mobile food and social services truck, also known as FEST. This would be a service that runs 3 days a week, alternating locations and Beltline on each day of operation. The service would provide a hot meal to people who are street involved and a place to gather and eat as a community. This would hopefully create a space that feels easier to access and is a lot less formal than accessing a facility for specific resources. We would hope that this service allows for a supportive setting for individuals who are still involved together and have the resources they need at their disposal in a much more accessible way. Also, FAST would be equipped with harm reduction nurses who can support the clients who access the truck. These nurses would understand how to support individuals who are using substances and their mental health. Furthermore, the nurses would be able to distribute clients with safe supplies for substance use. The truck also provides basic wound care as well as some sexually transmitted blood-borne infection testing to clients. More so, the service entails the provision to take away care packages with a few snacks, first aid kits, sanitary pads for women, naloxone, and a leaflet with emergency contact that clients could refer to when necessary. The community can also get involved with this intervention. Local grocery stores can donate their unsold but good quality products. Community members can also contribute by volunteering for meal preparation and service. In reorienting our services and creating supportive environments, the FAST program tells meeting clients where they're at but not leaving them as they're found.
Emma and Yevon, thank you for your insight on these interventions for Imogene and the community.
That was a year ago. We are here now in the present day, and we recently went to interview Imogene again. Let's evaluate how the housing intervention mentioned went for Imogene. Raph, take it away.
I'm here with Imogene to ask her how living in the apartments has been. How was the process of getting housing and moving in light for you?
Well, it was actually pretty helpful because I got to meet with my advisor once every 2 months to discuss my income and my rent would look like. My advisor really helped me out a lot in this whole moving process to make it run smoothly. They were even able to help me out with like my everyday living questions, like how to do laundry, budgeting for groceries, and providing some easy meals to make and things like that.
All right, so Imogene, just to provide some context for you, the housing program was an intervention aimed at expanding affordable housing for vulnerable populations in the Beltline community. In your opinion, do you think the goal for this program has been reached?
Well, I no longer have to worry about getting back on the street. This apartment has allowed me to find sustainable housing and not have the fear of paying rent. The housing advisors are super understanding and accommodating for when and where I'm at in terms of income. And since I've been able to get housing, I can focus on other things in my life and getting everything else in check.
That's great to hear. And how do you think this housing program has impacted and affected you?
Ever since moving in, I felt very isolated. My friends are still on the street, and I don't really have any friends in my apartment. I'm starting to get to know some of the people living here, but it's hard to make friends. I can't really talk to these people openly about my life experiences, and most of my friends on the streets could relate to me. And they knew me. I wish I could have that here.
Thanks, Imogene, for sharing your viewpoints. You've really come a long way, and your resilience is an inspiration for all of us.
Josh and I were actually able to volunteer in the FAST program, and we had a chance to talk to many of the community members who came out on our operational days. I definitely noticed that in the process of getting out in the community, we were able to get so much more involved in the community directly. I was definitely able to connect to people on a relational level while I was giving out hot meals. So many individuals who were street involved seemed taken aback with the treatment. They faced discrimination and stigma in so many different forms, so they told me how welcomed they felt when they were able to talk to someone that treated them with respect and kindness.
Yes, I definitely agree that one of the biggest successes of our programs was our ability to connect with the community to build trusting relationships, where they are comfortable enough to be vulnerable and open to us with their story. This also aided us in creating relationships and connections within this marginalized community. This was huge in being able to achieve our goal of increased accessibility for these vulnerable sectors. So many people had told me that they had never heard of these services we were connecting them to. Furthermore, it was definitely rewarding to feel like we were able to make a difference in that way.
Obviously, all programs also come with their challenges and unintended consequences. We were so grateful to work with and provide resources to the community, but we had some resistance that we had to work around. Some businesses were unwilling to cooperate with the locations of our services with FAST, considering that we were parking in their parking lots. Obviously, that location meant there would be a continuous gathering throughout the day of people using our services, and many businesses, despite supporting the work that we were doing, felt that it wasn't the best fit for their parking lots.
We hope to keep reevaluating programs to help more individuals like Imogene and ensure that their voices are heard. We hope this session has created awareness on the disparities experienced by the individuals that are street involved, and that more communities are more accepting of this vulnerable population group. We will be back with more insights on health issues in Canadian society. Till then, it's a thank you, take care, and goodbye from Group 14.